Before we get into this video, I gotta say this. Insomniac Spider-Man is a good game. Many Spider-Man games to me are good, and what I mean by that is that they're above average. To me, the average game should be good, so anything above that is even better. But very few Spider-Man games break that mold for me. Most Spider-Man games from the past, although good, have a lot of jank. But now, Insomniac has kind of made Spider-Man a little too grounded. What I mean is, Spider-Man games in the past were, well, actually games. Now what I mean by that is, they let Spider-Man be fictional. You're probably saying, what are you talking about, Grim? It's already fictional. Just wait and hear me out for a second. Older Spider-Man games lean more into the creative side that the Spider-Man universe could bring out in somebody. But Insomniac completely neutered that in their vision of Spider-Man. See, to me, it seems like Insomniac clearly took inspiration from the Spider-Man movies. Now, these movies, of course, are a work of fiction, but they have to be grounded in some form of reality because these are real people acting out and doing the performances. So a real life actor can't jump as high as Spider-Man could in the comics, and he can't do flips and crazy acrobatics like he would in the comics or even in past games. Maybe a CGI model could, but not a real person. And that's fine for a movie, but for a game, it's kind of boring. I don't think Spider-Man is going to be doing too many crazy things in Spider-Man 2. Even with the Venom suit, it's pretty tame compared to other games. I want to be clear because unfortunately gamers are kind of sensitive. I'm not here to crap on Insomniac Spider-Man 2. Like I said, I liked the first game and I'm looking forward to Spider-Man 2 anyway. And I'm not going to talk about Spider-Man 2 and what I wish it was, because wishing that it was like the older games when I know that that's not Insomniac's goal is kind of pointless. So instead, I want to talk about how they could improve upon the Spider-Man formula based around their vision of Spider-Man. Let's start with the combat. Combat is too simple. Now I understand that many new gamers might actually buy a PS5 just to play Spider-Man 2. We all know Spider-Man is a beloved franchise outside of gaming, so of course plenty of new gamers could get into gaming thanks to Spider-Man 2. So I understand why they would want to keep the combat simple, but it's a little too simple. I want to give them credit. I do see that they added a parry to the combat, which is good because Spider-Man really had no defense moves outside of dodging in the other games. I also see Spider-Man has power moves that he can do now, and they're all on a timer. I think all this is good and moving in a good direction, but I want more. Anyone that knows me knows that this was a big complaint in Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man got one combo. Before you say, no he doesn't, he has more than one combo. No, if you turn on Spider-Man right now on your PlayStation 4, PS5, or PC, go to the menu, you will see he has one combo. Just because you can blend in other moves doesn't change the fact he has one combo with a set of animations that you will see over and over and over again. Mashing square a few times and seeing the same bat flips over and over again, like I said, gets boring real fast. So how about they just add different button combinations that will allow Spider-Man to do different moves, like many other games do anyway. Or they can go the Batman Arkham route. Batman doesn't have many button combinations with his normal attacks. Like he doesn't have a heavy or a light attack, he has just his main attack button. But what they did do in the Arkham games was have button combinations that blend in his gadgets, so it allowed you to do different things depending upon which gadgets you want to use in your fight. Now before you say, well, can't Spider-Man use different gadgets now? Because in this game you can have up to 4 gadgets on a quick select as is. And that's true, but I don't want to judge it because I don't know. What it seems like is that these gadgets still will work like the past games. So Spider-Man won't really be blending them into his combat, he will just stop and use one. But I want to be clear, I'm not sure about that, it's just what it looks like as of now. So let's hope for the best. Sticking with the gadgets, even if you can have 4 on a quick select, and even if they are woven into the combat, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man is going to have more than 4 gadgets total. And if you remember in the Batman games, Batman could technically use all his gadgets no matter which one you had selected mid-combo because again, they have button combinations that you can input to trigger this. Now I felt Spider-Man 1 had good enough enemy variety as is, and I'm sure 2 will add even more, but just as a suggestion, just in case it's not there, I would like air combat. So that means I need some air enemies. In the first game, air combat was very safe. You uppercut a guy in the air, you beat him up, and all you had to do was worry about was dodging a very slow projectile attack coming your way. And that's only if someone had a gun. But imagine if enemies could actually fight in the air. So now you have two types of combat styles that you have to worry about. And to stick with this version of Spider-Man, just give some jetpack enemies. I mean, you know, there's already enemies in the Spider-Man universe that use kind of jetpack type equipment. Just give the grumps some jetpacks or something. That way it can fit into the universe that Insomniac built and it won't seem awkward. Now let's move on to stealth. Stealth was fun, but too basic in the first game. It basically played itself. And it's funny because as I'm playing through Spider-Man again on my PS5, I'm noticing Spider-Man doesn't really web up the guys' mouths when you sneak attack them. You might say that's a nitpick, but hear me out. This is why I'm bringing it up. If you ever played the Arkham games, when you bring a guy up on a ledge, they'll scream, alerting the other guards around them. So Batman has to move out the way. This added tension to staying up in the rafters. So it wasn't just a safe way to take out guys in stealth. But as we know in Spider-Man, it's just completely safe. And I was going to give Insomniac some leeway and say, well, maybe Spider-Man's webbing up their mouths or something, but he's really not. So of course you know where I'm going with this. Make the stealth harder, especially when you're above the enemies. Let them scream, let them be alerted, or just let the guards start noticing, hey, a lot of our fellow henchmen are gone. Let's look around, you know. Maybe add in if you use a web blast to trigger a guard to come your way or go to a different direction. The guard will notice that it's actually a web ball and say, hey, Spider-Man must be here because why is there a glob of webs just all over the place? You know, let the AI be smart, basically. Another thing when it comes to stealth is the animations of the stealth takedowns. They're all cool looking, but let's be real, they're kind of stupid. Remember, Spider-Man trying to be stealthy. When you're sitting there doing backflips and rotating off someone's neck and slamming them to the ground, making loud noises, I'm pretty sure someone will be alerted. So to make things seem more realistic, how about you just change these up a bit, make it seem more real, make it seem more believable? Overall, I just want the stealth to be more challenging. I love stealth in these types of games and it does work as is, but I gotta say, it's just too easy. And you can also not break my stealth streak. I get it in the arenas and warehouses, you don't want me to just stealth through all of it, but at least give a reason that makes sense why the guards notice me. Now let's talk about these crimes in Spider-Man 1. They are too frequent. Now I gotta say something that might just be a factor with playing the PS5 version of Spider-Man 1. I don't remember them being this frequent in the PS4 version. I don't know if because they increased the population in the world or they just increased the number of times that the game loads in crimes. I feel like crimes are happening every 5 seconds, and I understand from a lore standpoint, if something's going on in the story that will cause this to happen, that makes sense, but New York they're making New York seem like it's freaking Baghdad around here. Like, it's crazy. And see, it's not that too many crimes is a bad thing. It's too many crimes and all the crimes are basically the same crime. So that's when it gets kind of boring. So kind of chill on the crime alerts, especially if you know they're very consistent. Again, I want to be clear, if something's going on in the story that will increase crime in the city, that makes sense. But just crimes happening left and right every 5 seconds is crazy. Now let's make these crimes a little bit more varied. I can only stop a car so many times in Spider-Man. And seeing as this works the same way practically every time, just with a little twist every now and again with a bomb in the trunk, it gets a little boring. Spider-Man PS4 forgot to add in the civilian aspect of Spider-Man. Remember, the nickname of Spider-Man is what? The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. How about Spider-Man do things for people like he did in the past games? Even from a more criminal aspect, Spider-Man could save people from burning buildings. Spider-Man could stop a robber on the street, something very simplistic for people. But you can bring back simple things like delivering something for somebody, or carrying someone to work, or dropping someone off at the hospital. I like these type of things, and at least they're different than just stopping bad guys all day. And like I said, it adds to the lore that Spider-Man is friendly and that people love him. You can even go as far as to letting Peter be kind of a dick depending upon what suit he's wearing too. Because you'll have the black suit in this game, it will be cool if Spider-Man doesn't want to do civilian activities, or if he does, he's mean to them when he does it. Now the traversal in Spider-Man is an interesting topic to say the least. I gotta say guys, I was recently, as you can see, playing some older Spider-Man games for this video, and I gotta admit something. As much as I love the older Spider-Man games, and they did do a lot of great things with the traversal that I do want in Insomniac Spider-Man, these games are very janky with the web swinging. What Insomniac did was take what the older games did, but they made it so strict that there doesn't feel like any creativity with it. So what I mean is you kind of feel like you're on rails. I know you're not, before anyone says you are. You're not on rails, but it just seems so restrictive that Spider-Man really can't maneuver like you want him to while he's swinging around. Whereas in the past games, they just let you go anywhere. They let you fly all around, fling all around, Spider-Man's bouncing off walls, and it was too loose. So they need to have some type of a mixture in between. I think that would create the perfect swinging mechanics in any Spider-Man game that we've ever had. Now what they did add though is a wingsuit, and that does look fun, and it does look like you can fly through the city fast, and even swinging is a little bit faster from the video that we've seen in Spider-Man 2. So everything is already improving, but like I said, it could be a little bit better, especially if you look to the past for what Spider-Man could do in the older games. Spider-Man was able to climb his webs, run while swinging from the web. He was able to swing in the city and attack from his web. He was able to do many things with his webs. Now, like I said, it is janky, but I think Insomniac could implement these things, if not in Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, and make it dang near perfect. And the last thing I would talk about is the climbing. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna be swinging through the city, and you may not even bump into this type of problem, but there's been times I was climbing in Spider-Man PS4 or /PS5, and Spider-Man just simply would refuse to climb over simple things that in other games he would climb over easily. I think this just goes back to Insomniac making the game so restrictive that Spider-Man seemingly can't do certain things. So I hope they clear this up in the next game. I'm sure whatever Spider-Man 2 will be, it's going to be good as is. Insomniac normally delivers, and I've always loved their games anyway. But I want Spider-Man to be greater, better than just good. But for right now, what we've seen of Spider-Man 2 in the previews, I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy this game that's a fan of Spider-Man and a fan of PlayStation. Besides, this is only the second full Spider-Man game made by Insomniac anyway, and the PS5 is still young. So I'm sure a lot of things I asked for, and even things I didn't even think of, will be in Spider-Man 3. And hopefully Insomniac will finally make Spider-Man a franchise greater than good.
You know what, Herman? You have like zero personality, but your suit is awesome. Can we talk design details? Maybe later.